You're with Julian on the Brown Note, and why Chris Minns, the leader of New South Wales, is the Australian Keir Starmer. By which I mean, not only is his leadership extremely shonky, but he seems to politically represent the opposite side of politics more than his own constituents. So on Sunday, we had the march across Sydney Harbour Bridge. The number of people who joined the pro-Palestine march across Sydney Harbour Bridge exceeded everyone's expectations. Just how many braved the rainy weather, and it was absolutely terrible weather. I don't know what that noise is. To pressure the Australian government to do more regarding the death and destruction in Gaza. New South Wales Police initially said it was 90,000. The total is up to 300,000, which has been given legitimacy. It seems like 300,000 people were there, and about 100,000 were allowed to cross the bridge. There was just too many people. Initially, they suggested there could be 25,000. So I think the people of New South Wales have spoken in regards to this. Now, Chris Minns has managed to make himself in just the enemy here. The New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, faces an angry backlash from within his Labor caucus when it meets on Tuesday, which is today if you're live, over his stance on the pro-Palestine march across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Members are planning to move a motion condemning the conditions in Gaza and endorsing the right to protest. Chris Minns has now become the de facto villain for trying to stop the march happening in the first place. Now, Minns came to power on a generational wave of Labor support. Yeah, he seems to believe he's governing on behalf of the Liberal Party, 2GB and Sky at Night. Now, the march's success, no problems with anyone at all, with such a large crowd, and reading the room, Minns is being painted as an enemy of the people, as a villain who actively tried to stop the march happening. Even if he was opposed to it, even if he wanted to appease the Israel lobby, he should have read the room here. Why would he oppose it? These are true Labour values that he's opposing. That's what the trouble with Keir Starmer and Chris Minns is. It seems to represent values that are the opposite of what Labour values are at a time when Labour is in the ascendancy in the UK and in Australia. Overall, I mean, the Conservative Party in the UK is destroyed and the Liberal Party in Australia is pretty much destroyed. It seems whenever there's a side to fall on, he falls towards the right, and no one's asking him to. And whenever there's a judgment call, he seems to make the wrong one. Or he hews towards safety or this middle ground that absolutely no one gives him credit for. And that's exactly what happens with Keir Starmer. They end up being regarded as either standing for nothing or appeasing a right-wing populist vote that is not only not powerful anymore, but those people won't vote for you anyway. So why are you kissing up to them and offending your own base? I mean, the whole axis of 2GB and Sky at Night and the Murdoch press has been shown in recent elections to have virtually no sway over the electorate. So why is he doing something that Labour people used to do 15 years ago? It's not Alan Jones anymore. These people don't have any power. Peter Credlin and Andrew Bolt, they exist in this tiny bubble that Chris Minns seems to think is more important than the values of his own constituents. He seems spooked in every direction, and he wasn't even under any threat. Like Keir Starmer, he's created the threat against himself by his own behaviour. And we've seen it continually from that caravan incident earlier in the year, which made Peter Dutton look like a complete fool, where there was a terrorist anti-Semitism thing going on in this caravan that ended up being made up, likely from people who were serving long sentences inside, trying to get time off by paying people on the outside to pretend that they were a terrorist organisation, so they would feed the police information to get time off and so on. So Dutton looked like a fool, but Chris Minns tried to force through this anti-Semitism legislation. At the same point, it's likely he knew that the whole thing was fraudulent. And like yesterday, I saw that he's actually bowing to the Hunters lobby and trying to repeal John Howard era Port Arthur Massacre gun legislation. What the hell is that for? Do you think that that's something that will appeal to the average Labour voter or even the average person in Australia? He seems to be really listening more to very loud minorities online and in places like 2GB and on Talkback Radio and in the Murdoch press and Sky News at night. These people don't have any power anymore. What are you doing, Minns? I think he's got a short period of time to actually shore himself up here. This should be a generational era for Labour. So let's get rid of the Tories from Labour. We don't want them anymore. We've already seen Jeremy Corbyn launch a political party in the UK in the last month that is already more popular than Labour because he's sticking to those progressive left-wing values. And the right don't respect you for throwing those out. I think Chris Minns has got very little time left. So honestly, shape up or ship out, Minns.